Welcome to episode 6 of the Give Me Grace Project, founded by Nolan Mickelson. He brought me, Alan Hansen, Porky along for the ride, for which I'm grateful. And we're about to have a special guest on, but we have a Nolan note, I believe.
We have a Nolan note
and a quirky quip. Nolan gave me that one. That's a nice one. So, Nolan, what you got?
Well, my Nolan note is that I think we had mentioned on the previous episode that one of our classmates, we didn't name her, but I'll name her now, sent us both a package. And we don't know, neither of us know what the other's package had in it. It might be the same or it might be different.
It's true.
So, Crystal Shawcroft, that's strange to me to call her Crystal Shawcroft because it was always Crystal Beckstead.
Yeah.
Sent us both a package. So one thing in my package was this. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, I'll show mine.
You got one too? Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the same thing.
Yeah, yours is much better because I got that.
Yeah, you have the thing behind you.
Yeah, but so we got that.
It's a Napoleon Dynamite Franklin freaking sweet license. I thought that said Franklin before, like for Franklin County. Such a southern Idahoan. That's hilarious. Yeah. So
I guess it's the number 2004 license number. I don't know if that's the year. I can't remember that. I guess that's the year
it probably was. I would imagine it would be. Wow, it's the 20th anniversary of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
How about that?
And it's funny, his restriction is girls.
Yeah. We had that in common.
6'1", 185.
165. You gave him 20 pounds. Yeah.
And then I like on the back, it says about Napoleon. Has awesome hip hop dancing skills. His best drawing skills in the whole school. He spent a summer in Alaska hunting wolverines. And he knows all the legal ninja moves from the government.
Yep.
So,
that's cool.
We got that.
Yep. Okay, what's your second thing? Should I show the second thing? Oh, you're wearing them.
Did you get
those? Wow. Yes, I did. I got my Napoleon Dynamite socks right here.
Hey.
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite socks.
Yeah.
On the back of the package, she says we have to wear them on the podcast.
Okay, I will next time. It says gosh, and it has a little face of Napoleon. So
yeah.
Very good. Well, I'm glad you put yours on. I didn't have time. I just got it before I came over. So
no problem.
Yeah. So thank you, Crystal. It's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your Nolan note.
That's my Nolan note for today.
My quirky quip. And this is where quip is a little misleading. Going to be a little misleading sometimes because there will rarely actually be literal quips. But I think my quirky quip for this episode is just how fun this is. I didn't anticipate it being so much fun. Just reconnecting, you know what I mean? It's fun. Putting them out there on YouTube is great.
It's a little work behind it.
It's just fun though, just to have these conversations. They'd be worth having if internet technology didn't exist as such, and we just were able to have the conversation and wouldn't be able to post it. Still be worth it to me because it's just so fun to reconnect with people.
I look forward to each day that I'm going to record, and because I'm excited to see these people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some of them I haven't seen since probably literally graduation night. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Our guest tonight is one of those for me. I didn't keep in touch with him at all.
And then
he's in.
Oh, he joined, huh?
He's coming. So here we go.
Look,
connecting. Oh, look at that. He's connected to audio.
Okay.
Awesome. So Brett, you can hear us, but we can't see you yet.
Don't panic.
Look.
Don't panic.
There he is.
You were skeptical of us.
Look at Brett. Wow. Your laugh takes me back 35 years, man.
How is my audio and video?
It looks good. You're awesome. Yeah,
okay.
Looks great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I haven't done a Zoom from home for since like
a couple of years, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Been a minute.
Yes.
Well, it's good to see you.
Yeah,
So
good to see
great to
you.
see you.
I saw you maybe once after graduation, probably. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I just don't remember.
Did you go up to
Oh,
John Christensen's cabin with a bunch of us?
yeah, I think so. And
Oh,
maybe
okay.
when you were at BYU, concert or something, maybe, possibly.
Possibly.
That could be. That would make sense.
Welcome. Welcome to episode 6 already.
Wow.
You ready
Moving
for
right
some
along.
questions? What's that?
Moving right along.
Yeah. Hey, before we start,
Okay.
I just let everyone know we did ask Brett if he watched our episode, and I loved your response. And I want to ask him about it because it's intriguing to me. He said he was skeptical at first.
Yeah.
What were you skeptical about?
Well, I don't know. I just
Sounds kind of dumb.
well,
Right?
not really that. I was just skeptical how it would work out.
Well,
getting everybody to do interviews. Yeah, I don't know.
We're trying.
Yeah, and then when you see
I didn't know you were professionals. I mean, I had no idea.
This was my wife Nicole's reaction. She was skeptical's probably a good word as well. But she's like, who's gonna watch that? Who's gonna listen to that? And then she saw the first episode was an hour and 45 minutes. She's like, what are you guys thinking? This is not
So,
yeah,
if
but
you have,
but she got through it.
Go ahead.
I'm willing to break that record. Tell Omar,
Right.
whoever, to warm up his
Editing.
editing finger for the mouse. So
You're gonna break the computer. If we made a commercial about this show, it would probably be like, if you're having trouble sleeping at night, just put in episode 1, and an hour and 45 minutes into it, you should already be asleep by then. So
yeah, you'll never hear the end.
if you don't know us, you might miss out on some of the.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Yeah. I've heard all of them so far.
Good.
So
Yeah.
Good.
Well, originally we were just going to do it as a podcast and not have the video.
sure.
Or at least that was my first thought. I don't think that was Nolan's first thought, but that was my first thought. But then I love to see the people. So we would really be missing something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And when people say that they listen to it, I'm like, that's great. But man, you're missing out if you're only listening.
See, I have two thoughts about that because I know what I look like. So like if you listen to it, you're probably doing all right.
For the other people, you get to see everyone and their family pictures and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. There is a little bit of content there that you.
Omar sneaks in a few little rabbits,
a good job.
whatever the bunny. I don't know what they're called. There's a name for that. Easter eggs. Or
Easter
stuff.
eggs, yeah. Bunny rabbits. We can do that. Call that too.
Yeah. Hey, I like your background, Nolan. I have a story.
Hold on.
That goes along with that.
Awesome.
It's later. It's later, but I do have a story.
Awesome.
We figured this might be an episode where we talk quite a bit about music.
Yeah,
So,
we could.
That's right. If you get me started.
I put on my Tears for Fears shirt, and we got the Cure background for you.
I'm under the impression you have continued to follow music.
Yeah,
through the years,
always.
so.
Yeah, I love music.
Nolan always did
well.
that. Brett, you did that as well in high school. I didn't so much. I listened to my dad's stuff. I think that
I know
that you listened.
I got one of them.
Oh boy!
This weekend, I picked this up at a yard sale.
Oh, look at that! Air Supply.
You bet.
Awesome.
That always reminds me of you.
Yeah, I don't know why I listened to Air Supply, but here's the
here's the thing. That summer, at first I thought you were joking, you were being ironic or something. And no, we listened to a lot of Air Supply.
I can't explain it. The only thing I can say is I feel like as I look back on those years for myself, I didn't really know who I was, and I think my music meanderings were indicative of that. I think they're emblematic of just not knowing who I was. Yeah. So
I don't know. I
wasn't being ironic, but I probably should have been.
I think you were well grounded. Yeah.
So I love behind you the books. Give us an overview. What kind of books are we looking at here?
So I have a lot. We have a lot of books.
You appear to
okay,
have.
They extend in both
wow.
directions
My wife would be
around
jealous.
me.
Amazing.
And most of them these days are, we ran out of space. We got rid of most of our fiction because, Kindle,
Yeah.
I still read fiction every day, every night. So, but ran out of room for those books. But so most of this is nonfiction.
Wow.
A lot of art, design, architecture. I just love to read about stuff. I have a section of skateboard books.
Wow.
So
Hmm.
pop culture, just all kinds of things.
Awesome.
So yeah.
It's great to see a robust bookshelf like that. That's awesome.
We'll start because we're foreshadowing a lot of stuff that we'll really dig into once we get there. And
That's true.
yeah, we'll probably break the hour and 46-minute record. So
Oh man.
let me start, Brett. First of all, where are you at? Where do you live?
So I live in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Oh wow.
Been here since 1996.
How about that? I had no idea.
What do you do there?
So I'm the head of the IT department for the school district there.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Yep. So I've been there at the school district the entire time I've been here. So.
Oh wow. And you moved up. Did you start in IT there?
I did start in IT. Basically, I was not in charge of the department the first year. However, the guy who was ended up leaving, and it just kind of happened. I just moved up, and that was that. So,
Yeah.
How about that? That's awesome.
Real quick, we were comparing. Grace School District has 3 schools. A high school, the middle school, and the elementary, or the junior high, I should say.
We have 15. So I think this year, I don't know, we're gonna have we always just hover under 10,000 students. So we haven't hit 10,000 yet. So it'll be maybe 9,400 students or so this year, I think.
How many high schools?
Yeah. So we have 2 high schools and an alternative high school.
Okay.
2 very full high schools. Looks like they're going to be,
maybe building a
1,500 students, each this year. So
big. Okay.
Twin Falls is probably a popular place to move to right now. So
is it growing?
Well, I think it may have slowed down a bit now. It was a popular place to move during COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of people who moved here. And, there's some companies with big plants here that draw a lot of people, Chobani, Cliff Bar, things like that. So, they take advantage of all the dairies in the area. So,
wait, Cliff Bar's headquarters are there?
Not their headquarters, but they
like a
do
factory.
Have yeah.
Okay. They're disgusting. I hate them. So if you see somebody, just let them know. I'm not a fan.
So
that's the thing about here. You get all the free Cliff Bars you could want.
Yeah, I would imagine. That would be just my luck, is live in the same town where I get free Cliff Bars.
You also get plenty of Chobani yogurt. So
now that stuff's good. Okay, that's a good balance.
You dip your Cliff Bar in the Chobani yogurt.
You might be able to choke a Cliff Bar down if you dip it in enough yogurt.
Yeah. Tell us about your family.
Corrine Wistison,
right?
And I have been married since 1993, and still together. We have 3 kids. Our oldest daughter, Velma, she's finishing her psych degree at University of Idaho. She has 1 semester left.
How old is Velma?
Velma, she's 22.
22.
Okay.
Yep.
And Daphne, I see a theme coming.
Oh yeah, it wasn't deliberate.
Scooby.
Velma and Daphne, yes. But there was no way we were going to have a Fred or a Norville or Shaggy. So Daphne's 18. She just graduated high school. She also got her associate's degree from CSI at the same time.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Good enterprising kid.
next month she'll be going to BSU to
Awesome.
to study electrical engineering.
Oh, so
So-
she's
Very good.
And she has a twin brother,
Oh, wow.
Ivan, and he will be going to BSU as well. He'll be studying geosciences, and he'll be playing in the Blue Thunder marching band,
No
playing
way.
drums.
That's
So, yeah.
awesome.
very
Yep.
good.
That's awesome.
So
Cool.
it's funny. All three of us have three.
Yeah.
Kids.
That's been a popular number.
We
Yeah.
didn't plan 3; it just happened. You
Sounds
know,
like it.
we planned 2.
Yeah.
You got two at a time.
I would ask, people would ask me, it's like, how many kids you want? 2 or 3. How many you have? 3.
3's problematic. It throws things off. Like rides and at
Yeah, that's true.
theme
It's-
parks and
Yeah, that's probably where the phrase fifth wheel came from. The third kid. But you have twins, so did you think about that at the time? Were you thrilled to have twins, or were you like also apprehensive as like, oh, we're going from 1 to 3. How's this going to work?
Well, okay. I maybe shouldn't share this, but when Corinne found out, she cried a lot.
Just the stress of it, I can imagine. Yeah, because
But-
1 to 2 makes sense, but 1 to 3, that's
That can be a lot.
something.
Yeah,
That's probably
yeah,
the biggest
it was-
jump, actually. Like if you're thinking having twins, maybe 0 to 2, but 1 to 3's got to be next. My little sister had twins. She already had 3 kids, so it was like 4 to 5. It's like, what's the difference? So
Yeah, it's been great though. So I mean, they're
sounds
all
like
of our
they're both
kids have been
doing
great.
great.
So yeah, so we're definitely happy about it now. So.
You cry less. We cry less now.
just slightly less.
Is Corinne there right now?
She is not.
Ah,
She's
she knew that.
I told her she needed to make an appearance, and she wasn't
Little
excited
shy.
about the idea.
Where is
Maybe-
she? Where
maybe
is
I
she
can-
from? Because I think I remember, but I'm not sure.
She's from Bancroft.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
So,
green.
yep.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
thought I
So
remembered
we
that.
were dating since '88.
Oh, okay. Before high school's done.
So her best friend Kayleen Lloyd, who was also from Bancroft, the Bancroft bunch. I won't mention what the Grace people used to call them, but Kayleen Lloyd liked Sean Millward, and she got Corrine to ask out John Christensen so they could go on a double date, and it was through that connection that I met Corrine. So
Okay.
Kayleen's brother was the one that always played music at the dances, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and had some old like Datsun sports cars, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if she comes home before we end our video, we might have her come in just for a minute. What does she
Okay,
do?
I'll see if. So she is a physical therapist at
Nice.
St. Luke's Hospital here. Specializes in neurological disorders, some neuro stuff, that kind of thing.
Wow. That's awesome. Where
Traumatic
did where,
brain injuries and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. That's
So-
awesome. Good
What
for
about-
her.
So,
Sounds like
What?
a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Help people through that stuff. That's awesome.
Y'all
Yeah.
have any pets around the house?
oh yeah. We have a couple of cats. I have nothing against dogs, but we've always had cats because you can't just go camping for a week and leave dogs behind.
You can,
Well-
but it's probably looked down upon.
Yeah, right. So we have two cats, Grim and Smudge, and it's just it's
Part of the
convenient
furniture.
to have cats, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
That's the family.
So what did you do straight out of high school?
My undergrad, I went to ISU and I became a professional student. It took me 7 years to get my my degree because
Same with
I
me.
just loved school. So I was crazy about it. Like I studied math and computer science and French and anthropology, computer information systems. But ultimately, I got my degree in English. So,
That's awesome.
so while I was there, I worked at ZCMI, which is no longer around.
Yeah.
I worked on the loading dock at first, and then in electronics.
You worked
What's
at the VCMI in Chubbuck?
Yes, in Chubbuck.
Oh.
That's the one. Pine
We gotta
Ridge
have-
Mall.
Chubbuck's got to come up in every episode.
We're trying to do that. So far, I
That was a
think it
good
has.
one. That was a good one. I'll give it to Nolan. That was awesome. Yeah.
That's where it
cool.
was. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I understand what you mean about professional student because I loved being a student. You know, I was actually not looking forward to graduating, and when my professor says, "Why don't you be a professor?" Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's so. In a sense, I'm a professional student too. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So later, I ended up getting a master's in educational technology through BSU.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Was that?
And I love
That's
that
not
too.
online though. Is that online, or did you go to Boise for that?
That was 100% online.
Okay.
And yeah, it actually worked really well. It was a lot of fun. Took a lot of time though.
You graduated from ISU in '96.
So yeah, I think 96. It would have been,
okay.
yeah.
And
So
then
you were in Twin when you did
Possible
the
it was
masters.
97. Oh yeah, I had to once I took the job here, there was a semester where I drove to Pocatello a couple
Oh, wow.
times a week to finish up.
Okay.
I even there was a night where I spent the night in American Falls because they closed the interstate.
Oh no.
So I was driving home, so
Wow.
That's probably one of the only reasons that a hotel exists in American Falls.
There's fortunately I knew some people there through ZCMI.
Oh, nice. Oh,
not
okay.
that it worked there, but people I had sold things to, and they bought a computer from me, and I spent a lot of time in their house working on it, and they were super friendly and took me in for the night.
How
so.
about that? That's a great story. Hi, this is Brett from ZCMI.
Yes.
I stay at your house.
Yeah.
You need any help with your computer? Oh boy.
Yeah.
So then you moved to Twin, then you've been working at the same place for all this time, huh?
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty good.
did Corrine go to ISU as well? Sounds like she probably did then.
So Corrine got her undergrad at ISU as well, but she went to physical therapy school at U of U, University of
wow.
Utah.
Okay.
So we actually lived apart
I was gonna
for
say.
that time.
Yeah.
We just
So
saw each other on weekends.
You were in Twin and she was in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Trying to think of somewhere in the middle, like Snowville. You meet in Snowville at the gas station.
No, we just make the drive basically every weekend. So
okay. That's cool.
So I'm trying to think of the timeline. Your first child was born 2002.
yeah, 2002,
Okay.
and the other 2006.
Okay. Awesome. Very good. So let's do some favorites. What do you got as a favorite food and beverage, Brett?
I'm gonna say these days Asian food, particularly Korean.
Okay.
Nice. Some bulgogi.
But oh yeah, I love bulgogi. As a matter of fact, the whole family does. Everyone in the family really likes Asian food. But sushi, ramen, whatever. I also really like street tacos. So there's that too.
So here's what they do in San Antonio. They do Asian fusion with Mexican food. So you might get like a bulgogi taco or some,
Oh yeah, yeah.
They do some
that's cool.
interesting concoctions here of different kinds of foods.
So how you feel about the chilies down there versus Idaho? Because there's a tech in my department who just moved from New Mexico,
Okay.
Albuquerque area,
Yeah.
to Idaho, and he doesn't really like I mean, he really liked the food down there, and says like the chilies are different and like the sauces are different, and
It's true.
so
So in New Mexico, they have something called the Hatch green chili, and everything in New Mexico has Hatch green chili in it, probably. Here, when we first moved here, I didn't like jalapenos. I didn't really like something too hot, but now I have jalapenos with everything. My burgers, ranch dressing with jalapeno in it. Just, I love it. As long as it's not too hot. But I
yeah.
don't remember eating chili in Idaho because, again, I didn't. It was probably too hot and spicy for me. So
And what do you wash down your bulgogi with?
So
I say that right. I've never said that word before. It's new to me. Bulgogi.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
So I guess my favorite or my beverage would be Diet Pepsi. I have
Okay.
one a day with lunch. That's it. I used to drink too much soda. I just that's
right.
my
Yeah.
Very good. And we'll add
Okay.
dessert. Let's add dessert to it. What do
Oh
you got for
man.
dessert?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. That one threw me off.
It's not on the list. It was added.
You probably never eat dessert, so
I have not that often anymore because I shouldn't.
we're getting to the age where we can't.
Speaking of shouldn't, yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about music. In high school, famously, as Nolan has indicated, it was The Cure, right?
The Cure, yes, The Cure was, in my opinion, the best band of the 80s.
So I always remember the pep assembly, and you guys, I thought you did a great job. And I'm trying to remember who the fourth person was. It was you and your sister and Cody. I can't remember who the fourth was.
Oh, gosh, now that you mention it, was there a fourth?
Yes, because you played Robert Smith. Your sister was doing like a keyboard thing.
Yeah.
And then I think Cody was either drums or one of the guitars or something. And then there was some other person. And I can't remember who it was. I could
would have been one of my sister's friends. Like
I think it was one of our classmates, but I don't remember who it was. But
wow, that's weird.
Cody might remember when we do.
I forgot.
Is that Cody Fowler?
Yeah, Cody Fowler. I had to really talk him into doing that.
How about that? Well, okay, so
it was funny too because I picked like this, song that a version of a song is like 7 or 8 minutes long.
It was great.
And everybody wanted to go to lunch, and we just kept playing.
That's awesome.
I loved it.
So Cody must be a prolific lip syncer because when I was like 7, when I had to be 8, I was around 7 or 8. Corey Kingston's mom led this charge, and she put together this group, and we would go around to like nursing homes and lip sync the Oak Ridge Boys. And Cody did that baritone, papa, or whatever you said. Bow, bow. Cody would jump up and do that, and they would go crazy for him. Yeah, so he's prolific lip syncer. All right.
I had forgotten about that. Another thing about that day was I had to meet with one of the military recruiters like immediately afterwards.
Still in costume.
Very impressed. Yeah, I still had like red lipstick and my hair all over. So yeah,
maybe it saved you from joining the military.
Yeah,
I don't know. Perhaps
Brett's on a watch list somewhere.
Yeah.
So The Cure for sure was.
Yeah, so you remember, The Cure, those times, Depeche Mode, Joy Division, Violent Femmes, Jesus and Mary Chain. You were there.
Tell me this too, if you remember, I went with you and your sister and someone else to a concert, and I don't remember which band we went and saw.
Okay, was that maybe Oingo Boingo?
Yeah,
or did you go to the New Order concert?
I did, with Public Image Limited.
Yeah, and Sugar Cubes, maybe somebody It was a weird mix of bands. It made no sense.
Yeah, that might have been the one.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Or
went
Love and Rockets and the Godfathers or
we went to
something.
the
Yeah.
Love and Rockets. That was on my birthday.
Okay.
There was like 6 of us went to that one. We played
Yeah.
golf before.
I was thinking it was either an Oingo Boingo or the
Probably.
New Order
Probably.
one with Public Image Limited. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There were some good shows back then.
yeah. Yeah. So
So
still have concert T-shirts from back then.
They're rags probably at this point. Who's that? Oh, that one.
oh wow.
That's a nice
This
one.
we never made it to this concert, but your
Hey.
brother. This came from your brother, Nolan. Of
Yeah.
course, the and then the fashion sense was mine. With the torn and
So I did see the
pinned back
church.
together.
I saw the church with Peter Murphy in Salt Lake back in the day.
Oh, I did see Peter Murphy and saw Peter Murphy just a couple years ago,
Mhm.
and technically it was Peter Murphy, but all they played were Bauhaus songs.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I'm like, this is gonna be terrible. The guy's ancient, had too many drugs. It was fantastic. It was one of the best concerts I've been to. Hearing that Bauhaus music live, it was just overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was
They did
cool.
after David Bowie died, they did a tribute band, and Peter Murphy played the role of David Bowie in those recordings. So,
Oh, cool.
or on that tour, I should say. I didn't go to it, but I knew about it. My concert fund is not what it used to be, so I have to.
I still love to go. I wish I lived closer to, Boise or somewhere where I could go to all of them.
Not too many people come to Twin Falls, huh?
No. No, you have to travel a little. I mean, it's not that far, but
We did go
more complicated.
I went with my wife last year to Air Supply.
Oh, nice.
That's
nice.
right.
That's funny.
You told me about that. Yeah.
And I was singing
Air
along
Supply.
to all those songs.
Oh, they're
They were all
singable. They're singable songs.
And
I'm all
even
out
though
of
those
love.
guys are, even
So
though
lost without you.
they're like 7 years old, they still were bopping around and playing. And the singer, the little guy with the curly hair, he had to take a break in the middle. He's like, my voice needs a break, or I'm not going to be able to make it through the rest of the show. So he takes a little time out and goes backstage for a little while and comes back.
Nice. Wow. That's cool.
How about that?
So what about so what about the 90s?
Toad Duet Sprocket is my 90s band that I love.
So okay.
Have you
So
heard?
do you so would you count the Pixies as an 80s band or 90s band? Because they were on the cusp. And or I should say Pixies, not the Pixies.
When I listened to the Pixies, it was probably in the 80s. So I'll say late 80s.
The Pixies is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, I really got into like harder music, a lot of industrial, and I think metal became decent in the 90s. I like bands like Pantera and Sepultura and Slayer. I also got into punk in the 90s. I never really cared for that 80s hardcore, but NoFX is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Okay.
So, but other stuff, like Beck and Dandy Warhols and Cake, Apples in Stereo, Soundgarden, those bands. And then there were a bunch of good female singers in the 90s too. It was a heyday for some, Sean Colvin, Sarah McLachlan, Leah Andrion.
My wife and I were big fans of Lisa Loeb, who was a 90s singer-songwriter.
Right, yep.
Do you remember Club Deviate in Salt Lake?
I do, yes.
So when we went to see her in Salt Lake at Club Deviate, she's famous for her glasses, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Like cat-eye glasses.
Uh-huh.
So I yelled down, I said, Lisa, when it got quiet, I yelled down, I said, Lisa, take off your glasses. And her return was, take off your pants. Because I'm sure that was not the first time she take off her glasses.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
yeah,
we got to meet her here in San Antonio a couple of years ago. And we asked her if she remembered that, and she says vaguely. She probably tried to block it out of her memory.
Right. So,
What
yeah.
about
What about
Post that.
now? What about
Current.
now with
What's
music?
your
Are you
favorite
still
current?
listening to the same stuff?
So, I will go back to some of that older stuff, but in the 2000s, I started to listen to stuff like the Shins and
Shins are good.
the Decemberists are one of my favorite bands of all time.
I'm going to the Decemberists in
So,
2 days.
oh, cool,
I
nice.
love the Decemberists. Yeah.
Yeah.
The lead
Are
singer is
you
from Helena, where I live. He's from Helena.
Yeah, yeah. Do you like the narrative stuff or the
I think their best
REM-ish
album,
stuff?
probably more the REM stuff, but I think their best album is The King is Dead.
Okay, that would
And
be
it's
the
got a little mix.
REM-ish
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
Yeah.
the most REM they get probably. But I don't mind the other anthology stuff that they do. I think it's interesting. I'll listen
Yeah,
to it.
I do too. That
Yeah,
is The King is Dead is fantastic.
yeah.
Just such a good album.
I've got a live
So,
version of when I do trail running. I've got a live version of the Crane Wife 1, 2, and 3.
oh,
It's like 18 minutes long. They played somewhere, and it's like, I'll be able to run over a mile in the time I can listen to this song, even
yeah,
uphill. So
no doubt, no doubt. Yeah. That's one of
yeah.
the few. I don't have a lot of vinyl, but I do have that one on vinyl. So,
Oh, that's cool.
Where's the concert at?
It's near Missoula. He graduated from U of M. Well, he didn't graduate, but he said they gave him a degree later. He was a couple credits short. But
So Brett,
there's a
Twin Falls
there.
is not too far from Missoula.
oh yeah.
Hey, we have
it's
2 extra tickets. Drive over.
not sure.
They're
Yeah,
yours.
exactly how far.
And there's probably someone's
So it's a
computer you
ways.
fixed. You could spend the night. But there's this
Yeah.
there's a brewery in a beautiful canyon. I'll get you guys a picture.
Huh.
It's an outdoor concert at this brewery in a canyon just east of Missoula. It's beautiful. So
Huh.
it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
So I interrupted you. You were saying what
Oh,
you've gotten into.
No, I don't know what else. Around that time, probably like metric, and I got into some EDM, electronic music, infected mushrooms, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Crystal Castles is one of my favorite bands too. But I don't know. More recently, it's I've been listening to a lot of stuff like Cannons and Phantogram and Churches, GeoWolf, Men I Trust. Do you listen to any synthwave? I listen to a fair amount of synthwave because it's good background music for work and stuff.
Oh, I could see that.
So I'm stuck in high school music, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
Brett,
still
you've
listen.
evolved. It's incredible.
I do.
Yeah.
U2's still my favorite, so I listen to them. But I'll listen to REM or I was listening to The Cure today a little bit. Older, I don't see. I'm one of those guys. I like the older Cure. I don't like the newer Cure.
Sure. I totally agree. I
So,
actually did not really listen to The Cure. Disintegration was the end of it for me.
me too.
It's all pre that, So it was the same with a lot of bands like Depeche Mode and a lot of those 80s bands. I don't know. The magic wasn't there. The details weren't there. It just felt like it wasn't the same. So, and then according to YouTube Music, the bands I've listened to most of the last couple of years have been In the Valley Below, and top one would be Mother. So that is, I love them.
I'll have to listen to some of that. I've never heard of those bands.
They're Mother's kind of unique. They're different. No Culture is my favorite album by them.
Okay. Very
So
good.
yeah, still into music. Over the years, I still have they're boxed up now, but I have my hundreds of cassettes, and I must have more than 2,000 CDs.
Oh, wow.
So
how about that?
What's funny now, I don't know about your kids, but my kids will come and say they're collecting albums, they're collecting CDs. They're like, "Hey, Dad, we just bought you this album," and I'm like, "Okay, but I listen to it on YouTube Music. I don't need it."
Yeah,
I already listened to that. It's like,
yeah.
They
My
love the
kid's
collection.
talking about like listening to old music, and it'll be like Arctic Monkeys or something, you know?
Not really that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about that age where our music is the oldies.
Yeah. When you go to the grocery store and you hear the music that you liked in the 80s and 90s, then you know you're being
Oh,
marketed
yeah.
to.
Yeah, that's right.
No doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. Huh? You like them too,
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Yeah. It was a good. Yeah. As a matter of fact, at a yard sale a while back, I picked up like this limited edition box that looks like an orange crate that had like a CD and a DVD and stuff in it.
huh?
Oh, I guess it's kind of cool. I got to pick it up.
Have you gone to concerts with your kids?
The only one that I've been to with kids is Mother Mother. There are a couple near misses, like Ivan. Just things didn't work out right. Two Door Cinema Club is one of his favorite bands, and Happy Fits. We were all going to go, and those, for one reason or another, we didn't all make it. So, but they do have some, crossover. We do have some crossover in what we listen to.
Right.
So for sure.
Alan, did you ever go to a concert with your kids?
Yeah.
It's fun when you go with your kids.
Yeah, a couple years ago, Gracie, my daughter in Salt Lake, got me tickets to the national parks.
Okay.
And so we all
Oh.
went to that. My son didn't go from Boise, but my two daughters and her and my older daughter's husband went. We went to see the national parks. It was awesome.
The local Salt Lake band, yeah.
Yeah. They sell out. Yeah, they sell out 3 nights in Salt Lake.
Right.
Yeah.
So here is the thing about some of these newer concerts that is weird to me. I've been to more concerts than Corinne, and this kind of really threw her as, some of the newer ones with the younger kids. They're a little more polite. They give each other space, It's not, there's no mosh pit, It's
Yeah.
not as rowdy as I remember.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
When we went to, we took our oldest son to a Toad Wet Sprocket concert here in San Antonio, and I'm like, we have to be there when the doors open. They're like, why? I'm like, we got to get right up to the front. I'm like, there'll be other people there in line. No, we were the first ones in line. But I was center stage. It was great. So, yeah.
now we're at that point where we can do the VIP, stuff too. So
The meet and greet.
get the extra songs and ask questions and whatever. So
Exactly.
yeah.
It's all about money. That's all they're doing. It's all about money.
I know.
Yeah, the tickets that's why I say my ticket funds are just not what they used to be because they're so expensive to go to a concert.
Our access to music is a lot to blame for that. It used to be that they would tour so that people would buy their stuff. Now they put out stuff so that people will come to their concerts. It's like the whole thing's flipped thanks to Apple Music and YouTube Music and Spotify.
Yeah. Right, that's true.
I don't know. Yeah, yep. I'm still toying. Violent Femmes are in Boise on Sunday. I don't think they're sold out yet. So
toying with that idea, huh?
I've seen them twice already. They're playing their first 2 albums, so
that's cool.
Hallowed Ground, which very few people heard, I think. So it's an awesome album, though.
That's cool. All right, so we'll move to Nolan's questions now.
We he talked a little bit about his hobbies reading, but I don't think we.
That's right. You talked about reading.
I got to mention something about the beverage thing.
Oh yeah, go. Let's go back to that.
The back in the day, because I think I'm fairly certain about this. This was the order of events when you and I were working for the school district. Porky, not Nolan. We would go move pipe.
Yep.
Then we would go to Easy Way and pick up a Sunkist in the tall bottle.
Yeah.
And drink a Sunkist and then go work for the school district during the day.
Yeah, but I think it was Bailey's. I think we did Bailey's. Did
we?
I think it was Bailey's so we could drink it before we got to work.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, so we spent all of our pipe moving money on the way to the other job. Just
buying snacks.
Just on junk snacks. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, we'd
Oh,
show up
yeah.
at like 7:30 in the morning and grab soda and like ding
Yeah.
dongs and whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that was not great financial planning.
Yeah.
So hobbies.
Okay, hobbies.
You read.
Yeah, I do read a lot. I've mostly stopped skateboarding. Not
Wow.
100. Um, I have not 100% stopped. I haven't I haven't been to a skate park though since I was, I don't know, maybe 46 or 47, because you will fall, and recovery times are
Not what it
rough,
used to
and
be.
so that fear sets in. But I do like to street skate still, and particularly I have a paddle board, which is styled after surfing. So it's like a skateboard that's about 5 feet long
Yeah.
and goes out to about 2 feet wide. And it's really, the trucks are
Hmm.
really loose, so it's kind of surfy. And then you use a paddle, basically a pole with a big rubber ball on the end, push yourself down the street. It's
Yeah.
it's really fun.
You can get moving
So,
pretty quick, I
I've
imagine.
never heard of that. That
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
cool.
But if you guys expand your interviews and you want to talk to someone else who skated for longer than they should, talk to Sean Millard, because I have not had to have surgery
We would
for
love to talk to
boarding
Sean.
school.
Yeah, we should talk to Sean.
I want to ask you a question because so when you went to the skate park, were you the only 46 or 47-year-old guy there doing it, or were there other?
No,
Here.
I was not. There are some people who older guys who are pretty hardcore. I was never like, skateboarding is my life. Just it's fun, something to do. But
Yeah.
you get some of those people who are take it. It's like, this is my escape place. I need this, for my mental health. And so, yeah, there are a lot of little kids. Yeah,
Did you
just
get
be
pretty good at
careful.
any specific tricks? Like,
I would say not. Ivan ended up being a much better skater than I ever was.
I was going to ask if any of your
So,
kids skateboard. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And he's the reason I started going to skate parks. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
in high school, who else skated a little bit? John Christensen?
John Christensen skated a little bit until I broke his skateboard. And then, of course, a couple of guys from Soda,
Will?
yeah, Will and Rob.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
not too many of us, and there weren't a lot of great places to skate.
No.
That was for sure. And no one wanted us around.
Any other
Yeah.
hobbies? Reading,
Yeah,
skating?
I'll throw in a couple of others, I guess.
What are they?
Something I've gotten into recently, I spend a fair amount of time restoring old electronics.
Oh,
So,
Nice. What? Give us an example of what kind of things?
so it could be anything. Like, I have kind of I don't know, I could say a mini museum of old computers at my office. But I will, I'm working on anything from like old receivers to laser disc players,
Oh, wow.
or VCRs, whatever.
Oh,
It's just,
we need a VCR that works because we've got to play the prom floor show video that Corey Kingston's dad recorded so that we
oh,
can.
really? Huh.
Oh,
That seems like something he would have done. Yeah.
yeah. That does sound like Nelson,
So,
doesn't it?
yeah.
So
Awesome.
speaking of your computers, can you still play Dr. J versus Bird on your computer?
I can. I still got that. I have a Commodore 64 set up at my office.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it is playable.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
What
Did
a
you play that
game.
with us, Corky?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not as
was
much as
actually
you
going to
guys
mention
played
that
it.
in this conversation. Yeah,
Yeah.
In your basement, right? We go down and play.
that's right. Yeah, and some of the people who weren't playing would teach my younger brother how to swear.
Hmm.
You probably picked up some while we were
Definitely
playing
remember
too. Yeah.
He wasn't young enough to remember, though, or I mean, he was too young to to remember, so or know what he was saying. He was younger than I am, so yeah. It ended up being kind of strange because we are incredibly similar in a lot of ways. So
Hmm.
a lot of the same interests, and so
Interesting.
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Where does he
But
live? Does he live nearby?
he lives in Pocatello,
Okay.
so
Awesome.
he's an antiques and collectibles dealer.
Really?
So yeah,
Oh,
so he's
wow.
into old stuff too, I
Yeah.
guess.
That's awesome.
So, and I don't know. I guess my other major hobby, I'm pretty serious about is mixology. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I have over 500 different bottles of stuff on hand, and
Do you experiment, or you find like
no, yeah.
okay, it's
I love to
experimentation.
experiment. Yeah, it's fun, and we like to have people over, and
Yeah,
and uh, you know,
that's cool. Have you had any like where you've like redone them because you like them and they have a name and stuff? Do you
oh
have it?
oh yeah, all the time. Corinne keeps telling me I should put together my own book, but it's not worth the effort. So, but it's something that I didn't do till I was in my 40s. So,
Huh, that's interesting.
you can tell us this is no
what
secrets here. You can tell us what your favorite mix that you've concocted is.
my favorite mix?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a particular favorite mix.
So if you were going to
Give us
go
one
right
you
now,
made up. Give us one you made up.
Oh, I don't know.
You'd have to look it
Don't put
up.
me on the spot here.
All
Yeah.
right.
no?
Well, a buddy of mine that
Probably with gin. Gin is a good thing to mix with. It scares people because they think it's going to taste like a pine tree, and then you can surprise them.
okay.
It's like tequila. A lot of people have like they're afraid of tequila because something that happened when they were younger, when they drank too much cheap tequila, and then so I always like take it as a challenge to make a beverage that they will enjoy. So
Something that doesn't
that
access
kind
a
of thing.
bad core memory.
Yeah, yeah,
Very good.
or yeah. So yeah, so I obviously raised Mormon, but I never drank until like when I was in my early 40s, and
Is that right?
someone gave me a gin and tonic. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I'm gonna
You, okay, so you didn't give us your favorite, but what was the one where you mixed it and you're like, man, this is not good. This is like
Oh,
so
there are a lot.
Failed
There are a lot of
experiments.
those. Yeah, there are definitely a lot. But a lot of these books right behind me are actually recipe books. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
A buddy of mine that used to work at Carroll, he did microbrew. He had microbrew stuff, but he also did mixology. And he said what he loved to do is find some like really old, archaic, drink from, the edge of the world, Nevada in the 19th century, and
Oh, sure.
see if he could remake it and improve on it. He enjoyed the historical aspect.
Yeah, it is interesting. There is some interesting history, so
I would
in
imagine.
all of it. But yeah. Anyway,
Awesome.
I don't. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Now we'll
well,
move to Nolan's
yeah, we're gonna
questions.
stroll down memory lane a little bit. Did you attend Thatcher or Grace Elementary?
So Thatcher, starting in 5th grade. I'll tell you a story about that.
Yeah.
How we ended up in Grace. We were living in Layton, Utah, and my father worked at this chemical plant in Woods Cross there, by Bountiful. And so, it was one of those jobs where, he had scars all over his arms, from like chemical burns and that kind of thing. These days, I'm sure that you would have to wear a hazmat suit for that same kind of work. What I don't know if it was related to the job or not, but he ended up with stomach cancer when he was 34.
Oh, wow.
So, and my mother had a teaching degree, but in Utah she was the only substitute teaching. And my dad's cousin is Blair Finley.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And his wife Nancy is my mother's sister. So
Wow.
they had met at my parents' wedding and got married.
How about
So
that?
of course, Blair was teacher in Thatcher forever, and so he knew of a job opening there, and the Millward family came to our house in Layton, and Gene interviewed my mother for that job. I was told to stay out of the way, but Sean Millward and I saw each other that day, and I mean, it was like I don't know how much later it had to been. It was probably in high school before we ever talked. So
And now you're
anyway,
still.
so that's how we ended up in Grace.
How about that?
Any specific memories about Thatcher? Any horror stories about Thatcher?
I don't know, man. You were there, right?
I was there. It was, yeah. We always talk
Everyone's-
about, everyone talks about JJ when they think of Thatcher Elementary, but
Yeah, there were some weird things on there.
we did a lot of crazy stuff before and after school, right? We talked about that with Chad Kirby. So, who were your favorite teachers in the junior high and at the high school?
So, was Pearson? Did he teach junior high?
Started when we were in 8th grade. I think he started.
So I always really liked Pearson.
Yeah.
He was a really good guy. I don't remember a lot of the others. I mainly remember Washburn because he threw me against the wall once.
Well, you ignored the shoulder roll and kept going. Most of us knew to back off when we
You were
saw
in the
the
danger
shoulder roll.
zone.
I was pretty shocked. I do remember that.
You remember the circumstances behind that, or
Oh, I think
you tried to block it out of your memory?
So some of us didn't have desks. There were too many kids, and our stuff was just stacked along the wall. And I think it was Dean,
Nicholson?
or and there was somebody there by my stuff, and my pencils were all broken. And whoever it was, I think I was blaming them, even though may not have been. And we were kind of arguing, and that's what happened. So he just came up, threw me against the wall, said, "Knock it off." I don't know.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Did you get to watch Robert's video about when we talked about Mr. Pearson?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really neat because I asked Robert what was Mr. Pearson's favorite music, and he said he loved the Doors.
Huh.
I like the Doors. That's some good old music. So yeah, that was a nice episode. We talked about a lot about Mr. Pearson, and a lot of people have said the same thing. They really loved him, Mr. Pearson. So
I had no idea that it was his first teaching job when he came to Grace. I had no idea.
So most of my experience with him was obviously drama,
right?
Because I was in every play in high school but one. There was one time when I thought, I'm just kind of tired of it. I want a break, and then I regretted not being in that one play. So
was it My Fair Lady?
But
were you in My Fair Lady? I don't remember you in that one. It
was
one of the few ones I was in.
Yeah, I think Doyle was the
in
it, and I was
you were
the
two
guy
guys.
that made
You
the
were
bet with
either
him.
Higgins or the other dude. That's right. Of course you were. You and Doyle were the linguist and the other dude.
Yeah,
having the bet over the lady.
Right. Yeah. I still have my
that's right.
Actor of the Year plaque somewhere.
Look at that.
From back then. Yeah.
Did you act at Idaho State? Did you continue with anything?
I did not. I took some drama classes and saw some plays there and realized how bad high school acting was. Like 1 year into college, I'm like, God, if I could go back to high school, I would do all that very differently. I do remember that.
So the Grace High drama department didn't quite prepare you for college then.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was no doubt. It was. I definitely enjoyed that.
I was only
even though we never had any funding or
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were just talking about pretty much something that would answer this question. It says, what is something that you think about regularly, which you were thinking about the acting. Is there anything else from your high school days that you think about regularly?
So, oh, well, you skipped the question there.
Which one?
High school teacher.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell
okay.
us about high school.
I thought you were talking about Mr. Pearson because he was the drama teacher, but yeah, let's go
Oh,
back.
no.
Who's your favorite high school teacher?
Definitely Jackie Thursby.
Okay.
By
Yeah.
far. I would say she was the first teacher I remember that really tried to get us to think about art and ideas, and it wasn't just like memorize this or diagram this sentence.
Right.
And the other thing, like, she was always trying to get. It was the first teacher I felt like our opinions mattered, and she wouldn't give us a bad grade.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, what do you think the author meant, in this, when we're analyzing literature. She encouraged us to do all kinds of things. And we were terrible in her class.
Yeah.
Absolutely
You're terrible in every
horrible.
class.
Well, I remember one thing about Mrs. Thursby. I remember thinking about it at the time that it had never happened in my own education, that I said something and she said, I hadn't thought about it that way. That's really good. And I realized I had never had a teacher treat something I said as a contribution to her intellectual growth, right? Or his. And
Right.
I remember that as it's one of the things I try to do as a professor is acknowledge when students make, which they do regularly, a contribution to my own thinking. I make sure to, say that. And I think that comes from Jackie.
Yeah. We are this close to getting her on the show.
Oh,
So,
We need someone to go down to Utah and teach her Zoom or be there and get her on Zoom.
she said that she's got someone she can, probably one of her neighbors that can help her.
Oh,
So
nice.
we're-
Oh, okay. We're
planning to
closer
get-
than I thought.
We're planning to get some other teachers and things on the show. So we're working with her real close. A lot of people have talked about her. So I didn't have her for English, but I had her for art, I believe. So I'm not very good in art. So I felt like she's probably like, man, this guy is horrible. Like, what's he even doing in my class? But I do remember her and appreciated her willingness to accept our work, even though it wasn't very good quality. But do you think back about your high school days very often?
I actually don't think. I guess I really don't think about it very much.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We already talked about going to concerts and stuff. I definitely remember that.
Right.
Oh, another thing too. You mentioned then that I think in the first episode, that club in Logan.
Yes.
I think that was called The Edge.
That's
It was
right.
in that corner, and I'm pretty sure it was called The Edge.
You went with us a few times, right?
Yeah. And I'm told later it was called Retrix,
I think
but
so.
I'm pretty sure it was The Edge when we were there.
I don't know why I forgot that, because the guy in you too is the Edge, so I should remember that.
You really should.
So
Yeah, I think for like the last part of our senior year, like every Friday night, we were going down to the Edge. Probably for like 6 weeks in a row, I think we went. And it was fun.
Yeah,
they played good dance tunes, so it was a good time.
yeah.
Do you remember
And-
some of the other people that might have gone with us? Amy Jardine she comes to mind that she would go with us. I don't remember anyone else really, but I know there was a group of us that would go. But 53 memories don't do very well on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you've talked about some stories. We'll give you one more chance. Tell us a story involving some other people from our graduating class. Maybe
Okay.
this is your chance to get people in trouble. If
This might be the
Okay,
story that he
all right,
foreshadowed.
all right. No, this doesn't involve someone from our graduating class.
That's
But
fine.
so Sean Millward, obviously he was the year before us. But this is something I need to share.
I've got some Millward stories too from Provo. So.
So, in my last summer there, I was still working for the school district, and Sean had come back from his first year at BYU,
Right.
and so he was working for the school district too. You know, his dad was superintendent, and Sean had how do I put it? He had experienced the world beyond grace at this point, and he came back with a pretty big attitude about it. So it'd be things like, we'd be driving through town, and he would be hanging out the window of the vehicle, shouting, "F you, Grace," and
With two double fingers too.
yeah,
Right?
two double fingers. Yeah, I almost made that gesture, but so and so we were doing a lot of stupid stuff. You remember, Corky, the trips to the landfill, the old truck that. So we would go out to the landfill, and on the way back, one of us would drive, and the other person would stand on their skateboard and hold on to the side of the bed of the truck. And so the vibration of that highway was so intense.
Yeah.
It took all as much concentration as possible just to stay on the thing. And I look back on that as probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life. What's that?
I was going to say, I've sent an invite to Sean. I said, even though you were not class of '89, you were friends with a lot of us. So
yeah,
I want him to come on, and then he can try to get revenge on you for telling that story.
Yeah. So while we were working there, we that summer we spent hours and hours patching the seams of the roofs on the elementary school and the high school. They had like these rubber, roofs, and we had these long rolls of, this rubber stuff, and we had like this tar-like, adhesive we put on with rollers. And it was getting toward the end of summer, and Sean was on the lower roof of the high school back, I think, kind of above the cafeteria. And then there's like a second floor. It goes up higher because there's the gym there.
Yeah.
So he was standing on that lower part, and he took that roller and he wrote "The Cure" in the largest letters that he could on the back of the school up there. And so that's why that your background reminded me of that. And I don't know, maybe a month or so later, I'm at ISU. I get this call from his dad, asking about how that got there, just talking about how upset the community was.
My goodness.
I think Sean was on his mission at the time, and all I could say was,
It wasn't me.
Talk to Sean. I was not involved. I was a witness, but I wasn't even up on the roof.
So if you worked for the school the summer after graduation, did they ever say anything about the damage done to the meat wagon during the times right before graduation?
I don't remember that. The meat wagon.
The meat wagon.
What's the meat wagon?
The meat wagon is the old van that they would use to transport food.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Nobody said anything about that?
No, not to me.
Do you have something to confess, Nolan?
There was some people that damaged the meat wagon right before graduation.
Oh. Okay.
Not just, I may have been part of that group, yes.
Okay.
But we'll see if any other people remember that.
So, Brett, speaking of working at the school, one thing I remember a lot of stuff about working at the school with you. It was probably my most favorite summer of work. we had good times with Mr. Clark. Um, one thing I remember is you were present for a time that I almost died. Do you remember?
Oh, in the gym?
Yes,
Up on the scaffolding?
we were up above the gym walking across, and I'm a moron, so I was walking on the tiles. I was walking on the tiles instead of walking on the boards that the tiles are nailed to. And I remember you looking over at me like quizzically, like, what's this guy doing? And then the tile gives away. The only thing that saved me was my butt came down on the board and my legs were dangling over the gym. Unbelievable. I don't even remember how they fixed that tile, but it was laying on the gym floor. Oh man.
I don't know. That was terrible. Do you remember? Here's another thing about that job. Do you remember we had to paint the showers and we were using like this marine grade paint
Yes.
that you would have to. I mean, there's no way they would let people like paint with that. There was no ventilation.
No, we didn't have
And-
masks or anything. We would have to leave
so
every
bad.
few minutes.
I
eyes
just
were
remember like
open.
going on, like my head just pounding. It was
Yeah. We'd have to go outside
Terrible
and walk around
condition.
for a minute so we could go back in and finish.
Oh wow.
those were terrible work conditions. Oh,
Yeah. Good times. Good
scraping gum off the bottom of the desk.
Yeah. Yeah. And the like fixing the lockers, and he just gave us this bucket of old mix match bolts. So I'm sure there's stuff in there that can, so it's like this game of trying to find the right bolts for the locker. Oh man. Good stuff.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. Are we
All
ready? Are we ready for the grab bag? I think we are.
So,
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So where were you when you were in Twin Falls when Napoleon Dynamite came out? Do you remember?
Yeah. Yeah, I probably watched it with my oldest daughter. Probably. I didn't see it in the theater.
It came to the theater in Twin.
I think I'm fairly certain it did. It was a pretty
Okay.
big deal.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people. I know it was big in Boise. I knew a lot of people who were pretty excited about it.
Mhm.
There was a lot of hype around here. But here's the thing for me. Like in the 90s, I really got into like independent cinema.
Mhm.
I was, really obsessed with the weird movies and extreme movies and that type of thing. So when Napoleon Dynamite came around, I'd already seen a lot of movies, with like, that were kind of absurdist comedies and had quirky characters and that kind of thing. So that one, I don't know, it didn't really stand out to me. What I always thought was cool about it. I mean, obviously, have a movie made in Preston, and I mean, anybody who can make a low budget movie and have it become a big success, that's pretty cool.
That's true.
To me. So, but I mean, that's really, I don't, it wasn't like a moment in life.
So ultimately, do you like Napoleon Dynamite, or you're no?
Oh yeah, I like Napoleon Dynamite. It was a good movie. I haven't watched it since. But around that time there were a lot of a lot of good movies. A lot of good independent movies, and right around before and after, probably probably a lot of other movies made because of it. So
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I didn't go to any celebrations.
Didn't
I do
go
remember
down
I
to-
did have a friend who was really crazy about it. So, yeah.
Okay. So you don't have a picture with your kids in front of Rico's van?
No.
No. I do. So
We do too.
not to brag. All right. So Bluebell or Turner's Cafe?
So, yeah. I've only been I only went to Turner's Cafe one time, so it's definitely Bluebell. And I didn't have a lot of money, or I was terrible at video games, so I mostly remember watching David play. There was
Yeah.
like a barbarian side-scrolling game. That I think he beat Raston, maybe. I can't think of what it
Okay.
was.
Hmm.
So
I remember Dig Dug, Galaga,
Yeah.
the punching one.
Mhm.
they have Pitfall for a while in the early days,
Oh, okay.
earlier.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I remember the English chips there. Those
Oh,
were
yeah.
good.
No, we're good. Yeah,
Did,
you're right.
did you remember when Sean Millward worked at Turner's Cafe?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
And my younger brother ended up working there too.
Did he?
So yeah.
I remember, I think we went when Sean Millward worked at Turner's Cafe. I think some of us started gravitating to them because they had things that you couldn't get at Bluebell, obviously, like what they call open face sandwiches.
Right, right.
A turkey sandwich
Yeah.
with gravy, slathered in gravy and stuff like that.
Yeah. I really only remember doing that one time, but
Yeah.
it could have been more. Yeah. That's true. That's right.
Do you remember when he worked there?
Sean kept them in business, I
Yeah.
guess.
Did
No,
he?
I don't know.
He was the cook. I remember he was the cook at Turner's Cafe for a while.
Yeah,
How about that?
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. Soda or Preston?
So for me, that's probably Preston.
Okay.
Because even when I was a little kid and lived in Utah, we had to drive through there to go to my grandparents. I had cousins who lived there. So my uncle had satellite TV, so I got to see things that were inappropriate for my age. And and
Oh boy.
and I actually went there quite a bit. I went golfing there quite a bit with my dad. So
Okay.
like we go golfing after school in Soda, but on weekends, like Sundays, I go to Preston with my dad.
When we
But
used to go golfing
oh,
in Preston, we'd always go to the Arctic Circle after and get lime Ricky.
oh yeah, Arctic Circle there. Yeah, definitely remember that. Yeah, I have this weird memory of Soda though. Well, this was like sixth grade. So, my younger, I think it was my sister and I, maybe both my sisters. We were with the Bittons. I can't remember. Shelley was definitely there. Probably Greg. I don't remember if Wendy was there, but we were on their farm, and there was this culvert pipe that we'd go through like a water slide kind of thing, and we were doing that, and I hit my head entering the pipe on the edge of it, and I cut it, badly enough that I needed stitches, and my parents weren't home. So Shelley's mother took me to that clinic in Soda with the really old doctor. And Shelley came along, and afterwards there was like a convenience store nearby. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Shelley's mom, Judy, she bought me a Welch's grape juice. And because my parents were always super frugal about food and that kind of thing. I had only had like generic grape juice, and that bottle of grape juice, changed my whole perspective on beverages.
That's how you got into the
What's
mixology.
possible with grape juice.
That's awesome. The origin
So
story
weird,
of the
but I
mixologist.
totally remember that. It was such a big deal.
So now you
That's
keep
awesome.
Welch's grape juice on hand mixed with
That's
with
awesome.
Welch's too.
So
Very
that's
good.
my weird soda memory.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. How about Pocatello or Logan? Sounds like Pocatello, at least later.
So yeah, by the time I was in high school, I think we went to Pocatello more often.
Mhm.
movies, and we saw. I think I was with you to see Rattle and Hum.
That's right.
Or we went on a lot of dates there. So my first real date, Corrine and I, our first real date, we went to Pokey on a double date with John and Nicole, and
Success.
um,
All four of you.
Yeah, that's true. That's amazing.
yeah, we and John, he picked the worst possible date movie. Did you ever see the movie Colors?
Colors.
Colors?
It was about like this inner city gang war. Terrible movie for a date.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys weren't too concerned about the movie anyway.
Yeah, probably not. I was
Colors.
kind of embarrassed about it though at the time. It was
1988.
kind of awkward.
Sean Penn, Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
An experienced cop and his rookie partner patrol the streets of East LA while trying to keep the gang violence under control.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I do have another Pocatello story.
Oh.
This one involves Corky.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh,
so
no. I think
if
I
you
know
remember-
the story. Oh, this is so bad. If this is the one.
Brett gets on these things. I remember now. He would get laughing. So he didn't even
I'm
talk.
telling you, this is taking me back 35 years. Oh, no.
Sorry. So we got our first, I think, we got our district paychecks.
Yeah, rolling in it.
And we went to Pocatello to do some shopping. Okay, first of all, I still have something from that shopping trip.
Is that
I'm
right?
gonna share it right now. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Gonna share it right now.
Oh, yeah, the flip sunglasses. We both got a pair. I remember. That's so awesome.
There you go.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I brought artifacts. So,
Yeah, that's really cool.
So on the way back from this trip, I was driving. Corky had this sign that he would hold up when we passed cars that said, "Show us your boobs." And everyone ignored us until we passed this group of girls, and they came and passed us again, and they held up a sign that said, "Dry up, perverts."
Oh.
Here's how I like to think of that now. I like to think of that as like my beginnings of being a sociologist, where it was like a field experiment. And that I really wasn't as interested in seeing boobs as I was seeing people's reaction. I don't know if that's true, but that's how I remember it. Oh,
We're
pretty
learning
bad.
a lot. The episode that's coming out soon will shed some light on some of that too from the girls in our class. So just stay tuned to that.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, so to get the full picture, that's happening while we're blasting air supply.
No wonder they knew you were a pervert.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not my finest moment.
I did ask Corrine about the Pokey or Logan, and she said Salt Lake.
Oh, okay. Well, she lived there. Yeah.
Well, we, in high school,
Oh, did you head down there?
as often as possible.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay.
Concerts or to go music shopping,
Right.
whatever, man. Yeah.
You
That
would
was a good time.
hit the freeway and had bypassed Pokey and Logan, right? Just straight down. Any other?
From here? Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
because you'd have to go over to Bancroft and get her and then go down.
Oh, yeah. Or she'd come pick me up. Yeah. Neither of us had reliable vehicles, so back then, for sure.
Is she our same grade or was she a year after?
She was a year younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
So when you were at ISU, you were kind of still seeing her.
Yeah, she would come up, or I would, go down there on weekends, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So we're gonna dive in to the introspection section. You
Okay.
ready for this?
Yep.
What's something we might not know about you?
Okay. Oh, I'll
Did
share
you
a
already
couple
share
things.
that? Did you already share that?
No, I'll share a couple more
Okay.
things.
Good.
One is kind of trivial, but um, so back in '99, Levi, my younger brother, and I, we made an hour-long film. It was kind of a gory sci-fi comedy, and most of it was filmed around Grace. So around my parents' house, we filmed some of it in the Niter Ice Cave. And then some of the scenes we discreetly shot at Thatcher Elementary, and we made a huge mess in the restroom there with this vomiting scene. But we cleaned everything up, cleaned that place up really nicely, and nobody ever knew. So that's my trivial item.
Did you say
still
a
have that?
gory sci-fi comedy? Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
yeah. It's a
That's
really
awesome.
lots of really dumb comedy in it. Lowbrow humor for sure, for sure.
And you still
There's
have it?
actually even a nude scene.
Oh, wow.
So
Impressive.
yeah. Um I can't put it out there in the world because we used all kinds of music that, would instantly get it
Yeah.
removed from any streaming service or something. So
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
and all edited on computer. There were even like digital effects, and we did
Wow.
green screen, and
How
that
about
that kind
that?
of thing. So
That's cool.
yeah. So item number two, we're non-theists. We've raised our kids without religion. People who know us already know that. But the part of that almost nobody knows is that Jackie Thursby inadvertently played a significant role
Hmm.
in me moving away from religion.
Hmm.
So when we were seniors in high school, she gave us some lists of books that were called like recommended reading for incoming college freshmen or something like that. I can't remember exactly. One of those books on one of those lists was The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell.
Mhm.
So I was buying my textbooks at ISU there, and that book was near the checkout, and so I bought it. And over the next like month or so, I read that book, and I started to realize how little I knew about like how religions were formed and interrelated, and the functions of myth and spirituality and dogma in society, and how all those things worked. And so over a number of years, I really got into studying religion, and actually ended up becoming non-religious. But the part about Thursby playing a role in that, I never really told people. So
Well, now everybody knows because everybody
yeah,
watches
yeah.
this
If
show.
if anybody cares, we'll see if we can make this the least watched.
Yeah, it could
So
happen.
I don't know.
No, that's a good one. So,
Go
so
ahead.
that was your first your college years were formative in that way too, then, not just
Yeah, I
intellectually, but
would
also.
definitely say so. Because I was still planning on going on a mission at that point, but I don't know. It just didn't happen. I started taking, it took started taking religion classes and that kind of thing, and so anyway,
Interesting.
I don't know.
Everything happens for a reason, I think. So I do. I
So for all of you who are still, religious, I guess I'm
Yeah.
going to outer darkness or whatever, but
oh,
The story you shared about me and Pocatello will tell you maybe we're not.
yeah. I mean, just real quick, I think there are good people all throughout the world who are not members of the LDS Church. So that's all I'll say about
You
it.
know, I tell my students, I share with my students because it's mind-boggling to
Yeah,
me.
you work at a Catholic college.
I work at a Catholic college, yeah, which is fine. I enjoy actually the tie to religion. It really matters less. What I think I'd be more comfortable here than at like a BYU school, really.
Sure.
But I tell my students the astounding lack of religious diversity that we grew up with. I don't know if you were the same as me, but I don't remember meeting anyone religious who wasn't my religion until I went to college. That's astounding, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's really something. And so, I think that there's a bigger world out there, and we encounter it how we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're going to talk, I think you can expand on that throughout these other questions, but the next question is, when was the last time you were in Grace?
So I was actually in Grace earlier this month. So, my mother's still in Grace.
Oh, okay.
Is she still a teacher, or she's retired by now?
She's retired. Yeah, definitely. And so when I went down there, she was leaving with my sister to go stay. My sister lives in Kalispell. She was going to go stay up there, and I hung out with my brother there.
My neck of the woods, in a way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Where does your mom live in Grace?
So she lives at the south end of town. One of the last houses that are actually considered in Grace.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a, little white house there with some big trees.
Okay.
Farm wrapped around it, yeah.
Cool.
So she's
same house that
I was wondering about that because that's where I remember you living during high school.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the same house she still lives in?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and Corinne's parents still live in Bancroft. So.
Okay. So you guys have occasion to go down there then?
Yeah.
All right, here's the deep thought question. With the passage of time, what does growing up in Grace mean to you? And I think you've kind of foreshadowed this a little bit. Go ahead and expound on it.
Oh, have I?
I think we kind of talked about how growing up in that community where everyone is the same religion, it's kind of like it's part of us, whether we like it or not. It's ingrained in us in some ways. But you tell me what your answer.
So I don't know. This one's kind of tricky for me because I lived there a long time, and had a lot of great friends, but I never really felt like I fit in Grace.
Okay.
Like it just I don't know what I think part of it was because we had moved from somewhere that was so different.
Yeah.
So like Layton, not like a huge city, but we could skateboard to the 7-Eleven or ride our bikes to the mall. And so like moving to Grace was kind of a culture shock, and I don't know, like we've just always preferred to live somewhere that's a little larger and at least somewhat more diverse.
Right.
So I don't know. I can unpack that a little more. Or leave it at that. But
and you lived in Lego. I mean, you were like, what was the closest convenience store to us was in Niter. We had to.
So, went to Bailey's all the time. Yep.
You went from Layton to Lego, right?
Yeah. It was weird.
So that's a good title for a memoir right there. From Layton to Lego.
So I don't know. I ever felt like I really adjusted to Grace. So
I can see that. Expound on it. Yeah, we can unpack that as much as you want.
Oh, yeah.
I would
I
love
don't
to.
know.
Well, I'll tell
I'm
you this,
saying,
Brett. I'll tell you this. As I look back on my time growing up, there are people that I wish I would have spent more time around and wouldn't have gravitated away from. Because you and I had that great summer of work, but we didn't talk too much later as high school went along. We were just kind
true.
of
Yeah.
right different orbits or whatever. And you're at the top of that list for me of people like I wish I would have known who I was a little bit better so that I could widen my circles so that I could have spent more time with Brett. It's,
Yeah.
there are people like that I see it as missed opportunities, and that's certainly one of them.
Yeah. 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 That's definitely true. So, yeah. Um, and some of that, I know was just being in high school. It seemed like
Yeah.
people would get kind of labeled and then be treated as categories, and you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Well,
it definitely got caught up in that too.
it
To
goes
some
back
degree. So,
to music being emblematic of that because
oh yeah,
I was so scared of The Cure in high school because I thought it was evil. I didn't know. And
right.
I listened to it later on, like, this is really good music. What was my problem? So yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was a weird time.
Yeah.
It was definitely different. Like my younger brother, grew up in Grace and had a completely different
Is that
experience.
right?
So yeah.
Interesting.
Thinking of the music, I think a lot of times, my brother Stan, the one that you referenced, I think when you talked about my brother,
Yeah.
he would bring home these cassettes from college, and he'd be like, "Hey," he'd give it to my brother Sean and I, and I'd be like, it was like a mixtape, a couple of Depeche Mode songs, a couple of Cure songs. The Cult was one of the bands that I remember was on one of the cassettes. And it was so different than anything that we were listening to in Grace, either hair bands or rock or country. And like you say, I think those of us that chose to listen to that kind of music, there was maybe a handful of us, 5 probably or less, that liked that kind of music. We got labeled. And whether it was right or wrong, we were labeled as people that like that kind of music. And I think that in some ways it did kind of define who we were. I was Brett. I couldn't wait to get out of Grace.
Oh yeah.
That's part of the reason I want to do this series. I'm thinking more about it now. I couldn't wait to get to Provo. I wanted to get to school, and I couldn't wait to get off the farm and get out of Grace and experience a little bit more of what the world has to offer. And you're talking about diversity. Not that Provo is very diverse either, but there is some diversity there.
Right.
Like we live in San Antonio and we love it because it's very diverse.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was different moving to Grace. We lived in Layton when we lived there were things that were different. Like, we had a close neighborhood, we had, families were close to each other. And yet, like, there, like race and religion weren't even brought up, so it was a little strange, and I know there's a small towns, we have a dominant religion, and it does have, an impact that, is positive in a lot of ways, but there can also be some other aspects to that maybe there are some people, I think there were people that do get marginalized, so I don't know. I think there are probably some people might not like that response, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty confident that there are some other people who could relate to that.
I think it's a really relatable response. Absolutely.
And it's an honest response, and that's what we wanted doing this show to see.
Well, you know me, or I don't know. I say what I think. So.
No, it's perfect. That's why would we want to hide our feelings or thoughts, because there are feelings and there are thoughts. And so we should be able to share them openly without fear of people saying, oh, you may disagree, but it's fine to disagree on things,
Oh yeah, yeah. I have no problem with that.
right?
So I love to discuss things so from different viewpoints. So yeah.
So maybe this answered the next question. Is there something from that time growing up that you would do differently?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I to get a little bit less serious here, I would not have written that love letter to Thursby.
Is that something we didn't know about you?
I um I thought were you in that correspondence physics class, Corky?
No, I don't think I
definitely
was.
wasn't.
I don't
Okay,
think I
so
was.
okay, maybe you guys didn't know or
No.
don't remember, didn't know about this, but we got in trouble for being obnoxious in Thursby's class. I can't remember who. It was John Christensen in our class.
Was it an honors English type class?
Yeah, yeah. And she wanted us to write an apology letter. And we went over, there was a small group of us, not very many people. I'm pretty sure John and I think Kirsten might have been in it. I can't remember. There was, like 6 of us doing this correspondence physics class. And so we're over there, and I had this idea to write a love letter instead of an apology letter.
Oh man.
And so maybe not everyone in the class, but other people helped craft this letter. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I went in and took that to her, and she freaked out. And of course, went to who was the
It was
principal?
Harris, right?
Harris, yeah. Went to Harris, and man, I thought I was gonna get kicked out of school for that.
I don't remember that.
It was bad. I'm trying to remember who would remember who was in that class.
But we're finding too that things that we think people would remember, they don't. So
Sure. Well, yeah, I was probably most impacted by that. There might be some other people in that class that would remember.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to keep an
And
ear out
others
for that
around.
one. That sounds great.
I think
So
Kirsten said, I guess this is
who was she dating?
Kirsten.
Shane Mansfield. our
Yeah, he
senior
was.
year.
I think he was in the class too.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
I
think she mentioned some people got kicked out of the class on the first day of class. But her episode will be out soon. You'll get to find out all those.
There was a lot of messing around. Pearson was in the room, but he technically wasn't our teacher, so we were supposed to be doing these. I don't know. It's so weird. You fill out this homework and then mail it off to be graded.
I had to do a class like that.
So, and the labs were difficult because we didn't have all the things we needed. So it was, I don't know, a strange class. So another thing too, I guess, I mean, this is kind of nebulous, but I probably would have been, when I was around people that I didn't know well, and definitely around basically any adults, I was really, really introverted back then.
Yeah.
So there were probably a lot of opportunities I missed to get to know people and that type of thing. So if I could have been a little more assertive or a little more outgoing there, that would have been nice. Something's definitely changed about me. So
can I ask, when did Adam Kingsford move away?
I think it was after 7th grade.
Okay. I couldn't remember
because I think I was really good friends with him in 7th grade, and then, or maybe it was 6th grade. Anyway, like we were really good friends in 5th and 6th grade.
Right.
And then I ended up being really good friends with Doyle. Once we got into high school, we kind of grew apart because of different interests. But, back then he was a really good friend. We did a lot of fun stuff together.
Yeah.
So Adam came back to visit once. He, moved to California and he got into skateboarding there. I still have a skateboarding t-shirt he gave me back in the day when he came back to visit once.
Do you remember when he could solve a Rubik's Cube in like 5 seconds or something? So,
oh yeah, he was
I remember
quick
him
on the
with
Rubik's
the
Cube.
Rubik's. Yeah, I remember that. I was still at the point where I would peel off the colors and
take it apart.
reattach them.
Oh yeah.
Or take it
Yeah,
apart.
his whole family was good at that.
Very
So yeah, there were some things there. I remember with Adam, like I never really had much money, and like every time there was a Christmas or something, he'd give me like a really cool gift. I'd give him something really cheap and terrible. So, like one year he gave me like the Chronicles of Narnia books, and they were sealed in a can. So I had to use a can opener to get them. I gave him like a Rubik's Cube from that I got with like
peeled off
I sent in like some proof of purchase things from a cereal box or something, because I had no money when I was younger, for sure.
Yeah. No. You've kind of been talking about it. Did we already cover how do you feel that you've changed?
I guess I'm definitely more outgoing than I was back then. I would say though, I would say I haven't matured much. I mean, this whole time I'm surprised I haven't said anything completely inappropriate for this. So,
well, now's your chance. But
no, I'm gonna make it to the end. No jokes.
no
inappropriate jokes. Yeah.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a weird question.
Well, I think you've talked about it throughout this interview. Like, maybe some of us our sweet spot is high school, and some of us our sweet spot is later in life. So.
Oh yeah, I would definitely not say, yeah. High school, college was a great time. I enjoyed that time much better. So,
yeah. I think when Corky mentioned with Tina and Scott, like how amazing it was that they found each other, someone they could potentially marry at such a,
Yeah, this is another one. You're right.
So
yeah,
maybe for them, there are people that like, okay, they're already in that sweet spot in high school, and some of us still haven't found that sweet spot. Maybe.
Yeah. No one who knew me then would have considered me marriageable ever. So I'm impressed by that.
But you and Kareem found each other in high school age, and
it's really cool.
30 something years.
More than 30 years now, so 31.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So speaking of you in high school, Corky, what's that?
Yeah. Kareem make it home yet?
Yes, she did pop her head down here, and I kind of waved, and she
that's no part of it.
She left. Yeah,
I tailed it out of there. Huh?
Rude.
Yeah.
So, I was going to ask you, did you ever complete that book you were writing in high school?
I did. I've got a story about that. So it's called At Death's Door. And I wrote it, and there was a poster in Jackie Thursby's class. There was this contest, and I didn't bother to write down where you send it when you're done. And by the time I finished it, the poster was down. I didn't have anywhere to send it.
I was super impressed.
Yeah, I did.
You wrote a book. I was like, yeah.
About 10 years ago, maybe something like that. My sister had it for some reason. She gave it to me. I've got it somewhere packed away. Yeah. At Death's Door, written on a dot matrix printer, printed out.
Yeah, that's cool. I just remember, like, I always wanted to write something longer, but I just didn't. I just couldn't in my mind wrap around how I could, keep writing the same, a book that long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
thought
was
that's
reading a lot of
impressive.
Stephen. I was reading a lot of Stephen King. You can tell.
That
It's a terrible Stephen
was a
King
good thing to
knockoff.
be reading back then.
Yeah, it
Did you
was.
have anything published, Brett? Or no?
Oh, I didn't have anything published outside of like the ISU literary journal, so I did have some things published in there.
Hmm.
Nothing that anybody would think much of, I'm sure. So
Well, I think we broke the record. We're almost 9:30.
wow.
Yeah, I think this is it.
That was that was your goal, right? Break the record?
Well,
That's right.
and I felt like today I wasn't going to tell the coming home from Pocatello story, but I thought you might. And so, yeah, I figured there'd be a couple of moments that were a bit unhinged. But that's
You know,
that's the way it goes.
Brett, before my son does the editing, Alan has the first edit. So
Yeah, I do a rough cut. I'll probably leave it in. I mean,
we'll see.
it's embarrassing, but I was 14, so I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any last messages or words of wisdom you want to share with us before we sign off for the night?
Oh wow, words of wisdom. I don't know about that. So
No, words, not words.
um
No.
yeah.
We appreciate you joining, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
thank you guys. I
It's
mean,
been so great to catch up.
yeah, interesting idea. Yeah, pretty cool. Good idea actually.
Thank you. I mean, it was a combination of different things. So
How long are you going to be able to do it before you get tired of it?
that's a good question.
Well, see,
Do you have an
that's
endpoint? Is it just the class, or
we're going to try to
No.
get a
And a
couple
couple
teachers, people like Sean Millward, maybe a couple others in a
Yeah.
year or two, you know.
We will not stop until we get JJ.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
That'll be
idea.
a good one.
We're
Yeah.
trying to
So
get
isn't
David
he?
Shaw and some other people, but
The nice thing for Nolan and me is we have a different person every time. So it's always fresh and new for us.
yeah.
But the people who are just experiencing this by watching it, they're just going to get tired of us, I would imagine. Yeah.
So who do you stay in contact with? Anybody?
Who do we stay in contact with?
I mean, have you talked to
Like
JJ
outside of this,
yeah.
Robert Pearson's trying to help me get a hold of JJ, which I've responded to a couple texts, but I guess he works 24 hours a day.
I
saw Rob Pearson flew into Helena a few years ago and we caught up one afternoon, but we hadn't really kept in much touch after that. I've kept in a little bit of touch with Dave Shaw, but
This is the guy that I've kept in touch with.
yeah, Nolan and I actually we followed each other around the country.
I followed him everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really outside of John and Sean.
Yeah.
Where there was a string of years where we took a camping trip every summer.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
then the last one, well, we never got back into it. COVID came along and we haven't done it since.
Yeah. And it's funny to hear you talk about John and Sean because in college, that's who my wife and I spent almost every day with John and Sean. So
that's cool.
yeah. The four of us would go out. Let's go eat. Let's go eat. Little Caesars.
Yeah. Little Caesars.
And now,
Quantity over quality.
when I get back to Grace every once in a while, I'll see somebody, but it's not very often. It's not often enough. But so that's part of why we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's also rumors now about a 40th year class reunion. So we'll see.
Yeah, Nolan's in charge.
Yeah.
Only if it's in San Antonio, though. That's the.
Okay. All right.
Are you down to come to San Antonio?
Yeah. I'd do that. Why not? Have I been to San Antonio? What's in San Antonio?
What's in San Antonio?
The River Walk. The River Walk.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
The
I've been there.
Alamo. The Alamo.
I have been there. I've been there. Yeah. Corinne's her sister's husband worked for
if you were in the military.
Motorola, Who was down there?
Could be.
There's a tech company.
In Austin, there's lots of
Oh.
companies.
Oh, what's the one?
Awesome.
IBM started in Texas, didn't it? Hewlett Packard, not Hewlett
Texas
Packard.
I
Instruments.
remember. I guess it's been
Yeah,
a
well,
while
Texas. Yeah, it could be Texas Instruments.
But
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
San Antonio is well known for military.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
All right, man.
I'm there.
okay.
San Antonio, it is.
Thanks so much for joining us, Brett. It's
Yeah.
been
No,
awesome
thank you.
catching up.
You're welcome.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Have a
Have a
good
good
night.
night.
You
Yeah.
too.
No, yeah. See ya. Bye.
Seems like yesterday